In reference to the tax bills, the tax bills actually were mailed yesterday. We unfortunately, for the second year, had some difficulty in getting them prepared in the usual time that we do to mail them out. Two things combined to that. Number one, well, three things maybe. Number one, each year the bills have to be, the program has to be rewritten to issue the bills, to send them to the printer to be printed and mailed. Number two, we also this year had the additional responsibility of preparing all of the ACA reporting, Affordable Care Act reporting to the federal government, which we hadn't done before, which also fell to IT and the one programmer that we have there to prepare. So he was juggling going back and forth basically in a triage manner, handling the works time. That's where we have to report it to the contractor works time for the ACA reporting, and working on the tax bills. And then unfortunately has been absent from the county now for about 2 weeks. So we've had to rely on an outside programming contractor to fill in and sort through some things and get the tax bills prepared. So at this point, the county tax bills and municipal tax bills were mailed yesterday. There is no further action needed by this board to extend the deadline because the state statute provides for 2 months.
60 days.
Right, for payment in discount. So from whenever the tax bills are mailed, which is what the law says when the clock starts, 2 months from then is when everything is due. So, Sally will need to recognize any postmarks that go presumably to May 16th for the purposes of a 2% discount. Anything? Oh, and then there are some per capita bills that we, for 3 municipalities, I think, that we prepare.
Four. Yes.
That are not prepared yet. So the vendor that we're using, again, is trying to sort through that and pick up where our programmer left off and get those out the door. Those are usually sent at the same time as the tax bills,
yeah.
But it doesn't look like
the tax collectors actually received their bills on Monday, so most of them picked them up Monday and Tuesday. Those ones that have the per capitas are probably usually we'll put them with the real estate tax bill. I don't know what they're going to do if they have to wait too long on that. And it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I forgot that. The municipalities that have a tax collector were printed first.
Yes, we
so
usually
they got
get
theirs
those
Monday because they have to do some manual preparation.
We usually
to get
those first so that they have time to stuff the envelopes and whatever they have to do to get them out. So they get back to us so we can get them to them. So, but ours were mailed yesterday.
Right. So, if you want to make a comment on it at all, obviously you may. I would just say that this is, as we embark on these IT improvements that we've talked so much about, this has to be one of the priorities, not just specifically tax bills, but the system that creates the tax bills that still forces us to change the lines of program rather than go in to an existing program and just simply change the millage rates and
the date.
And the date, right, and the year, and I mean that's oversimplifying a bit, but you understand, just being able to change certain lines and the bills are ready. And in fact, some counties that have that arrangement, I think the Treasurer's Office does that. It's not even up to IT. It becomes so simplified that the Treasurer's responsible for creating the tax bills and getting them out. So that's a priority, and it's got to be. And without the absence, we would have been somewhat better off, but
yeah, I think
maybe a couple of days late rather than 2 weeks.
We were pretty good. Our schedule looked pretty good before.
Nobody can change that.
No, exactly.
Thank you. John?
Ideally, what would have been your target date for sending them out?
That first week in March.
March 1.
Yeah,
March
the
1.
bills are dated March the 1st, and we try to get them out by that time. I know one year, I think we even got them out a couple days earlier. I mean, if we can get them earlier, we would. even though they're dated March 1st. That's when we try to get them out.
The good news is we met the deadline for the reporting of the Affordable Care Act. You know, because
God for that.
Because that has penalties
Yeah.
built in, and no one wants to find out whether they'll assess those penalties or not, so.
But any help the media could be in getting that word out that there'll be no, there'll be 60 days from the
Yeah.
16th
We've
roughly.
had a lot of calls in
Yeah.
our office.
That we'll honor
Did I
the
get my
discount.
bill, you
Yeah.
know, or didn't I get it? And
Appreciate that.
we did pass that on to most of the people that there would be an extension.
And then I assume the other phases will extend out as well?
I didn't last year we didn't. Actually, if somebody, we could, I guess, the net we could put till July 16th instead of July 1st.
Well, the law says that a 10% penalty may be added after 4 months.
Yeah.
So that would be, that's between discount and
Yeah.
flat.
Yeah.
So, since the law says you can't add a penalty for 4 months, presumably the flat would continue for the 4 months.
Gotcha. Yes. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.